All right, everyone, for today's build, I'm actually just going to be going over all of my contest builds that I'm taking into the Sundered Doctrine dungeon. I know a lot of y'all are probably going to be attempting it and probably just want to know some things to run on Warlock, or if you're just attempting normal mode, you just kind of want to know what the meta is, because all of these are just pretty much the meta builds on Warlock if you want a little refresher. I'm not going to go obviously too in depth. I have multiple videos on my channel if you'd like to go check those out of most of these builds, even updated ones that I've came out with recently. So this one, again, just going to give a quick little rundown, talk about the weapons, the builds, even the artifact a little bit. So first things first, let's actually just talk about the weapons, get these out the way, and it'll help further explain with all the other builds. So first off, Opecula, shoot to explosive payload. I can just grab ammo from across the map. It can apply Dark and Synergy if I'm running Transcendence. Very good. Tenacious Mastery, Chill Clip, Air Trigger, a bunch of ammo. I can apply Slow and Freeze. Midnight Coup, very, very good primary. Explosive payload, one for all, just for ad clear. Lost Signal for doing some extra boss damage or ad clear. Euphony, because I will have a threatening DPS build just in case this is meta. Outbreak to swap, you know, if we run out of ammo, get swapped to Outbreak, finish the boss off. Also, Outbreak's just good in general for ad clear. Scatter Signal for a decent fusion rifle, just for some extra damage. Perfect Paradox, because I will have a Lightning Surge build I'm taking in for ad clear, just to have this equipped. You can, if you're not, you know, you can swap this out for literally anything else. Velocity Baton, because it quite literally is one of the best guns in the game now, due to artifact perks, due to just wave rings being disgusting, due to its perk pool. It's very, very good. Choir 1, super, super good for ad clear, super good for, you know, just boss damage, general rotations, everything of the sort. I'm going to have a retrace path for Cenotaph to make ammo. Non-denouement, so Volt Shot, Dragonfly, just an ad clear weapon. This will pair with one of my other builds. No hesitation for the support auto rifle. I was going to take the Glaive in, but Bungie nerfed it. If you saw my recent build, the Glaive is disgusting with a support build now, but no hesitation. If you want to run the Strand one, you can, but this one does have an Incandescent, which plays heavy into the build I'm running, but if you don't do any of that, you can take the new one, which is cool. Ancient Gospel, another ad clear destabilizer rounds is very good now. Exposed payload. Zala's Bane, Incandescent, explosive payload, basically the same thing. Let's just get another ad clear weapon. And then also just threw on a Bria's Love right here because of all the Void artifact perks. But again, it also shoot to loot explosive payload. So if I'm running a special up here and I need to grab ammo, I could just put this on and grab the ammo. Now, for heavies, I have Anarchy just for dot damage based builds, which I will have for DPS. Anarchy is also just kind of just decent in general for just killing any tankier target. You can shoot 2 shots and it cooks them. It's just like a better Wither Horde or Area Denial Grenade Launcher. Chill Inhibitor, I know these did get nerfed, but I still think they potentially will be pretty good. This is obviously still one of the best ones in the game. Doom Petitioner, so linear fusions I think are going to be the go-to meta. This is just one that I threw on the character. I have a plethora of linear fusion rifles that I can grab from Dim. Honestly, I think any linear is going to be fine as long as you have at least one damage perk. I know Bait Switch or Precision Instrument being the best ones to get, but even if you have, you know, anything else, it probably will still be fine. But I would definitely recommend having some legendary linears to go. Next up is Parasite. I just, again, if there's a very, very fast DPS phase, or if I just need to kill something extremely quick, Parasite's got me covered. Queenbreaker, because this low-key probably is going to be the best thing in the game, unless they, you know, disable it. To be fair, I want to point out I am making this video before the full disable list that came out. So if something's in this video that is disabled, you just know it also, I gotta swap it out before the dungeon. So I don't know if it will be, but if it's not, it probably will be like one of the best things in the game. The reason I'm not taking Lord of Wolves because I imagine it's going to get disabled. That's why it's not in here. But Tractor Cannon, if I need to debuff anything, Tractor Cannon is just very, very versatile. It's a decent support weapon. Also, we'll have support built set up for it. Eager Edge Sword, and then Wicked Sister, again, for my Strain DPS rotation. But that will be a good segue to actually get into the build. So first off, I'm going to run the Getaway Artist. This is the classic, you know, throw turrets down, get devoured. You can spam turrets all the time. This actually kind of did get buffed with this season, though, because since this does create Amplified, you now have a permanent 15% damage reduction on top of everything else that was already very good about the build. But you can also pair this with Velocity Baton to get Demo. So between Demo and then also Feed the Void, you literally have so many stasis turrets out on the battlefield. It is going to be disgusting for crowd control. It is 100% probably the build I'm taking in, probably the build I'll run most of the time, and the only time I'll ever swap it off if I'm using something very specific for DPS. Now, the other build I mentioned earlier, kind of talking about the melee build, it is going to be this Lightning Surge build. Lightning Surge is actually very strong now. I probably will have like an in-depth guide out for this build at some point. I don't have one out right now, but just know you basically can Lightning Surge all the time, and you do a ton of damage with Syntheseps. If you run like a Pugilist shotgun, especially with Trench Barrel, Perfect Paradox literally just being the best one, but you can use other ones. You get a ton of melee energy back. you can just destroy enemies with the Trench Barrel perk. It is very, very good at killing a bunch of majors. It's not the best at boss damage. That's why I'm mainly just using this for ad clear. You can obviously use it for boss damage if you want to swap to something like Chill Inhibitor or anything, but this is very strong at ad clear. And if there's ever a situation where I just need to move around quick, constantly get melee kills, this is what I'm going to run. Again, I probably will just use getaway orders most of the time, but I have this just in case. Now, for another ad clear build that you all recently saw on the channel is going to be the Geomag Stabilizers build. This is also low-key boss damage too. Geomag is disgusting. If you have Volt Shot or just any other way to debuff a target or just like Delicate Tomb or anything of the sort, you make so many Ionic Traces with Electrostatic Mine. You can then pair that with the new Ionic Sentry just to have some crowd control around you. And you're constantly raining down bolt charge. You literally get your super like every 5 seconds if there's enough enemies around. And your super also actually does a decent amount of damage now because of all the buffs Chaos Reach did get. It is very good. I am just going to run this with non-data mod because non-data mod is actually disgusting with this. Again, any weapon will work. If you want a full list, definitely be sure to go check out the other video and I talk a little bit more about it in there. But again, I got Queensbreaker on just to pair with the arc and all that sort. But this build's very strong. I'm debating either running this one or getaway orders for most of the time. I might load in with this one just because, I mean, yeah, having a lot of turrets on the battlefield's great, but also you having your super all the time is also great. So I'm not exactly sure yet. But moving on, let's actually get into the Threatling build. I know a lot of you probably are interested in this one. It's very simple. I mean, it's been around for quite a while at this point. So basically, you just want a class item with Apotheosis and Star Eater. So when you use your super, you're going to get a bunch of ability regen. And then also, Star Eater, your super's going to do a lot more damage after picking the orbs up. So what you do is basically you run Needle Storm. This makes Threatlings. And then you just throw your Threatling grenades over and over and over again. You're going to stack up Euphony. And your Euphony is going to do a lot of damage, especially with this season with Particle Reconstruction. But then you can pair this with something like Envious Arsenal, so you can basically just shoot the Euphony a lot, shoot the Ancient Gospel, swap the Wicked Sister, shoot all that out, and you have some very strong DPS going on here. And since they're both strand, you can take advantage of triple strand weapon surge. All these armor mods, by the way, for all the builds, I probably will like interchange these as things go on. You'll swap them out, but for right now, like, obviously I'm gonna just put on the strand weapon surge for this specific setup. But so yeah, it's gonna be disgusting. It also has artifact perks. I don't have them equipped right now because this is really the only strand thing I'm using for the dungeon, but you can run Horde Shuttle and Unraveling rounds to unravel a target. When you do damage to those unravel targets, you'll make more Threatlings. Euphony's gonna stack up extremely quick, and you're just going to be able to do a ton of damage. And with this, you also have decent ad clear because you have Devour, you can spam your grenades, you have Weaver's Call, all that sort. It's going to be very, very good. Now, for the next build is just going to be my support Warlock build that I just made the video on as well. The one I was talking about, the Glaive, but I'm going to be running No Hesitation here. Again, just healing enemies. Again, just healing teammates. I can apply Scorch to enemies with Incandescent, get all the benefits from up here. I have literally infinite abilities. I can heal all the time. Speaker Sight is disgusting. I can throw healing turrets down, heal with that, and you pretty much just make your team unkillable. It is one of the strongest builds in the game. This is another contender. I'll probably be running for this for the most part. You can kind of interchange this out for like DPS and just ad clear. You can kind of do both. So yeah, this is a build you definitely want to have on hand. And then next up, speaking of DPS though, I can swap over and have a Sanguine build. So Sanguine is very, very strong for just doing DPS. It's kind of what the whole thing is made for. You can either pair solar weapons and get the Talons for Weapon Surge, or you can pop it and then swap over to a different subclass to get the Surge. I know some people don't like doing that. So low-key, if Queenbreaker is the meta and you are running that, you can just pop Sanguine. You will mark the target and get the extra damage from the marked target and just stay on solar. I think it's like a 2.5% difference if you do swap to a different subclass. It really isn't that big of a deal. But I mean, in contest mode, maybe because like everything counts. But if you just want to still use Sanguine, you still get like 10% extra damage on top of everything else that you would normally run. But do be aware though, if you are doing that method or not swapping your subclass, you do still need to run the weapon surge. So still run, if Queenbreaker, run triple arc weapon surge. You will still get the marked target and you'll get ×3 weapon surge. The only thing you're missing out is the fact that if you swap subclasses, you theoretically wouldn't have to take weapon surges, and you could just swap, and get the ×4 with Sanguine. So again, you're really just missing out on that one weapon surge, which again, it's not even that much of an increase, but you still get the 10%, which is good. So it's 10% more damage, and you're still going to get the weapon surge if you are running on your boots. So it's still more damage in the well, which is still very, very good. Now, the next build is going to be my other support build. I say it's support. It's not really like super support, but it's going to be one that has Apotheosis and Start equipped. So what I'm kind of doing with this is that I can use Tractor Cannon. I can then use my Song of Flame, obviously do a bunch of damage. And then also after the Song of Flame's over, I will get more melee and grenade regen, and I can just throw a bunch of abilities. And meanwhile, while all that's going on, I can also use Scatter Signal if I need to. I'm going to have very good ad clear with Ancient Gospel, and that's kind of the thought process. I use this a lot whenever I have to, I guess, be the Tractor Cannon person, and it ends up doing a ton of damage. Absolutely love this setup. It's very solid for ad clear survivability, and you still get that support role. You can debuff targets. I don't know how likely this is going to be a thing that I have to use, but I wanted to have it saved just in case. Now, for our next build, it is going to be my, I guess, dot DPS build, or just my Star Eater build. So I like to have Necrotic and Star Eater. You don't really need Necrotic. You can take anything else. It's also arguably better to have something like Ophidian so you can swap weapons faster. But Necrotic's good because you'll apply the little extra dot damage. It doesn't do a lot, but again, everything kind of counts in a contest mode. But Star Eater, you can buff your Nova Bomb up a lot. You can then pair that with Facet of Courage to make it do even more damage. You're going to throw the Unravel, get Facet of Courage debuffed, proc the Necrotic, and your Nova Bomb's just going to do a ton of damage. While all that's going on, you can have Hellion. I typically like to run Anarchy with this. You can run Anarchy and then Lost Signal, and there's just so much dot damage going on. You basically could just cook a boss, and it's also this build's also nice for survivability. It kind of literally like for Vest Post where you have to move around a lot. You could just kind of like let everything just do damage to the boss while you're focused on surviving, and you also have a bunch of ammo you can kill ads and stuff with too. So it's very, very good. This probably, if I'm not running well or Song of Flame or something like that, this probably will be my go-to for boss damage most of the time. But again, if I'm running well, obviously I'm going to take Sanguine, or I may just have some sort of Speaker Sight build, which I can swap over to Sanguine. But if I'm not doing any of that, then this is like 100% what I'm going to do, unless the Strain build ends up being very good. It just depends on how the boss is going to go. If there's a giant boss with a crit spot, this is going to be very good. But if there isn't a giant boss with a crit spot, this one's going to be a lot better. Now, next up is a Rhymecoat Raiment build. I don't particularly need this one, if I'm being honest, but I just want to have it just in case. You know, it can kind of achieve what the Getaway Artist build could do. They're both very strong. Honestly, I think they're on the same level. Maybe Getaway being a little bit better now with the stasis mods gone, and the fact that you get the 15% damage reduction with Amplified. But Rhymecoat Raiment's still very good. This is going to be an ad clear build, low-key like a support build, because you can kind of just throw the Rhymecoat down and just stand behind the walls and have cover. But it's very good. Again, pairing with Velocity Baton, you literally can throw the stasis turrets or the fortress literally all the time. It is very, very strong. And then for the final build, it is just going to be my Cenotaph build. So Cenotaph is like literally always the go-to play for Warlocks in any contest, because you want to be able to make heavy ammo, because heavy ammo is just crucial for beating a boss. So this is just my ammo making build. So basically the way this works, I can use my retrace path to mark the enemies. If my teammates kill that enemy, they'll get heavy, I'll get special. So you basically have infinite special. You can keep marking enemies. Also, I'm running special ammo finisher just to, again, play into the theme of making special ammo or making ammo in general. Also, I'd like to run a heavy ammo finder, heavy ammo scout. I'm going to be running Outbreak with this. You can run any exotic primary, but I like to run exotic primary specifically because they have a higher chance, or the heavy ammo that this spawns comes faster, and then also heavy ammo scout will make it for everyone. So you're making heavy everywhere for your teammates. You can mark enemies. Your primary weapons are making heavy. You make it special with finishers. Obviously, if Queenbreaker or some exotic heavies meta, you just take this off and just run something like Midnight Coup. But the reason I like to run Retrace Path specifically, for two reasons actually, is one, it has Shoot to Loot. Shoot to Loot is very, very good. Obviously, you can just pick ammo up around the map. It's disgusting. And then also Disruption Break. So since I'm mainly going to be using my kinetic weapon for ad clear, and I don't really need to take advantage of Transcendent, so I can run a kinetic weapon. I don't need to run a darkness weapon. I can basically take a shield off with Disruption Break, and then my Midnight Coup or Outbreak is just going to straight up fry whatever I took the shield off of. I think Retrace Path is the best in the game for a Cenotaph build, because it's just like the ultimate support weapon. Even the Origin Straight lets you swap to it faster, so you can just swap, pick ammo up, swap, you mark a target. It's very, very good. And then if you were curious about my final little slot right here, well, I'm actually currently using it for a build video, but I'm going to be able to just use this last one just to have 2 loadouts if I need to basically copy a loadout so I can loadout swap. So say I have like an ad clear version of a build and I have a DPS version, so I can just go, click, click, and yeah, I'll have that for whatever, getting ready to go into a boss fight. But before the boss fight, I have the ad clear set up. So that's what this little bottom right one's going to be saved here for. And then the bottom left one's for PvP, but we don't need to include that one in this video. But that's all for the weapons and builds. I do want to talk about the artifact really quick because this kind of plays into the weapons I'm running. First off, product reconstruction, I think it's going to be a must. Like, if linears are the play, you want to have this. It's very, very strong. Void Flux, Maligned Harvest, and a Volatile Marksman is the reason I'm taking a lot of Void weapons. So if I get rapid Void precision hits or kills, I get Volatile rounds around Void weapons. Now, if I rapidly apply Volatile, my next instance of Void damage will weaken targets. And then also, whenever I defeat a weakened target, I will now apply Volatile to all the nearby targets. So with all that combined together, Void weapons are very strong. Velocity Baton is literally just better. It was already good, it's better. And that's why I like running Ancient Gospel. And also, again, Briar's Loves, just, for the ammo, but also I can play around those. Now, for the other ones, things like Dielectric. So when I get arc debuff kills, I get Bolt Charge. This is very strong for arc builds. Again, overclock and load's also pretty decent. And then if we are doing some Bolt Charge DPS, or just if I'm playing an arc build, flash over so your lightning bolts deal more damage. And also you can amplify it when you're max Bolt Charge. Now, Disruptor Spike, so this improves the effects of Sever. This is going to be good. I do have the fragment, I don't know the exact name of it, I'm gonna be honest. Facet of Solitude here, so rapid precision hits will make a severing blast, so you can sever whatever boss you're shooting at, and they're just going to do a lot less damage to you, and you become way more, tanky, which is what you need in a contest mode. Now, for the final thing is honestly dreadful finisher. So whenever you defeat powerful combatants, or specifically subjugators, tormentors, or champions, you get guaranteed special ammo. So it basically is special ammo finisher without having to run the mod. Since this is going to be a dread dungeon, that means it's probably going to be a lot of tormentors and subjugators. So you're just going to get guaranteed special whenever you finish these enemies. I guess the final little note to point out is your piercing sidearm, or if you have the Salvation's Dead Sniper, you can run this and you have access to all 3 champion mods with your choke clip weapon. I don't know if there's going to be champions in it. There may be, but typically champions haven't really been a main issue when it comes to dungeons. At least it wasn't in Vesper in contest mode. But if that is the thing, that's good to have as well. But anyway, though, that is going to do it all for this one. Let me know what you all are taking. Are you running on Hunter, Titan, or Warlock, or even if you're just doing it in general? I would love to know the setup that you're running, the weapons you're bringing. If you are competing or just trying to get a contest clear, I wish you all the best of luck. Definitely remember to have fun out there. I cannot wait for tomorrow. I'm very, very excited to see the lore and just the dungeon in general. These are always some of the best moments of Destiny, so definitely be sure to make the most of it. Anyways, though, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.